Thank you, Linda. I'm Joe Messer and my colleague Heather Will Brown. We're here to talk to you about HemGenetics. HemGenetics is a European company based in the Netherlands. And here you can see a beautiful picture of last year's trials in Florida. And the reason we trial in Florida, of course, is to understand how heat and humidity affect our products. And Heather's a great partner to help me understand that. I'm going to show you a couple of slides that when you go online, you can see it for yourself, talking a little bit about HemGenetics, fourth generation family business. HemZaden is our sister company that sells packet seed items around the world. And Hem Technologies is our newest division working on seed enhancement. One of the things that we're known for in our breeding programs is the minimal use or no use of growth regulators. We're really concerned with the environment and want to use as few chemicals as possible. And so our low grow products are one of the things that we're known for. So new for this year, 2020. First item I want to show you is lupine, the Lupini series. One of the areas that we're working on are first year flowering perennials. And these lupinis are first year flowering lupines. They grow about 12 inches tall, spread is about 8 inches. Hardiness zones in 6 through 8. We recommend you grow them in 6-inch pots. We've got 5 colors, and I'm going to show you the 5 colors and let Heather talk about how lupines are used in Florida.
Joe, I'm kind of excited about this because Florida actually has a native lupin, and you'll see it in the cow pastures and sandy soil. So I'm excited about this one because it's something that's been refined. We don't see all the time. You think of as a northern kind of plant. But I think if you grew this in the spring, early summer season, and you grow it dry, the lupin likes it dry, I think it's going to make an outstanding addition to the garden. And the beauty is that this is a first year flowering perennial. And that's very important because here in Florida with the high humidity and the rain, sometimes you can't count on these things coming back. So if you can grow it in that season in the spring, I think you're going to have a really, really outstanding plant.
Excellent, great. Beautiful colors in all 5 of these.
Gorgeous.
Next item I want to talk to you about is the Casanova series of Cosmos. We have 4 colors in this series, a pink, red, violet, and a white, plus we'll make a mixture of all, so 4 colors plus a mix. It's about 12 inches tall. We recommend them for 4-inch or 6-inch pots. You can grow them in gallons if you'd like to. The garden height gets up to 18 inches and a spread of about 16 inches. They love full sun, and they're best, they love full sun. They're good for warmer parts of the country. Heather's used them in a lot of different areas, and I'll let her talk about how she uses them.
Well, I think that you hit it on the head when you're recommending these for containers and mixed pots, because these are a little bit shorter lived maybe than say something that can live all summer long, but they are so spectacular when you put them in a container, and the mix of colors together, you just can't beat. It's a good filler.
So there you can see the 4 colors independently in a very nice mix, as Heather said. Also, the nice feathery texture of the leaves makes a fantastic look in a mixed container.
I was just going to say that. You don't see that feathery look often.
Technology glitch here. So the next item I want to talk about is the purple ball basil. It's a Flora Select winner. It was bred by Dr. Zoltan Kavgas in Budapest. It's a wonderful mounded ball-shaped purple basil, good for a herb garden. Heather, how would you use it?
I would use it not only as an herb, but I would use it in a container just for the outstanding color. It gets you away from the green. It's a nice addition, but I think we always have to remember the taste. Sometimes people breed for the color or the look of it and they forget the taste, and this one tastes good too.
One of the things that Heather mentioned to me as we were preparing for this was, she said, you know, Joe, many times with when we're looking at planting up containers, we've got to wait for the flower to come into flower so we get the color. And as she said here earlier, she said, here you put this in your mixed container and right away you have that purple color. It doesn't go in or out of flower. So
color all the time.
Great one to try is a basil purple ball. Here's my favorite new introduction. This is Arbona Red. It's a Plumosa celosia. It's very good in heat and humidity. It's unaffected by that. This was introduced a few years ago, also by Dr. Zoltan Kolvak from Budapest. They had some issues with seed production, a few other issues. So they gave HemGenetics the opportunity to take over the production of it. We've had very good success in producing it. It's a Flora Select Gold Medal winner. It was outstanding when it was in trials a few years ago, and now it's in trials under our name, and it's just as good.
What I really like about this one, though, is that now we have celosia that will last all summer. If you think back years ago, you only had celosia that would live in the spring. And this celosia I've seen go through the summer, be covered with blooms, and the plant just keeps getting denser and denser. This guy's really long lasting in our heat and humidity.
I was in Orlando in January. I live in Indiana. I was in Orlando in January and went through the Disney trials with Melissa, and she had this. It was full flower in trial. It was just outstanding. So if there's one takeaway that you have, try Arbona Red. It's fantastic.
And the flowers keep coming.
Another item where flowers keep coming is our lavender Multifida minty ice, torch minty ice. We had blue torch a couple years ago, and now we add a new color to it, minty ice, which is a very, very pale blue or lilac color. It's also perennial, first year flowering. It grows very quickly. You can put it in a gallon container and have it flower in 16 weeks. Great for landscape and for pots. And I'm going to let Heather talk to you about how she'd use it in those situations.
I like this really for the height, because this is, gosh, what are we saying, 2 feet? It's a good 2 feet tall, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
Right. It's good background plant. So if you're making a container and you want the tall guy in the middle or the center, it's good in a container, but it's also really good if you're doing a landscape and you need some height at the back of a border or at the behind something. This one's really good. And you know, the nice thing is those flowers are such a light color that they don't disappear. So if you plant that further back, you're still going to see those beautiful light kind of silvery blue blooms.
Yeah, it's also pretty pest resistant. I've seen it in a lot of areas where other plants have gone down, and this one you see is just chugging away. So one you may want to try. Next time I want to talk to you about, and this picture happened to be, was taken at the Disney trials, is Celine Rosalind. It's a hybrid Celine, and this hybrid vigor gives it extra energy out in the garden. Its height is about 16 inches. It's an interspecific hybrid, as I mentioned, which gives it extra robustness. Day length neutral, can be used in the winter or spring in subtropical areas.
I think on this one, you're going to just have to pay attention and be a little careful about overwatering. That would be my only caution with this. It does make a dense mound, and really pretty wide spreading mound covered in these blooms, but you don't want to overwater this one. You want to keep it on the dry side, which may be good for xeriscaping.
There is a sister variety of this. It's not an interspecific hybrid. I don't show it here in this presentation because it really does like extra dry conditions, but it's Desert Glow. It's a Silene Desert Glow, and it's an orange color instead of this rose one. You
may try the orange in a container where you have a little more control.
Great suggestion. Another variety that we have is Solar Avalanche Cherry Brilliant Eye. The Solar Avalanche Vinca series we've had for several years. Great for use in hanging baskets and mixed containers. The avalanche is a real trailing type, just like an avalanche. It kind of falls down over the pot. This Cherry Brilliant Eye is very bright and very eye-catching. Last year in our pack trials out in California, this was really the showstopper. I would say one of the most outstanding plants that we had. And you can either plant it alone because it's so dramatic with that big white eye, or you can also put in a combination. We had planted it with some grape or blueberry colored vinca and some pink, and it was really, really beautiful. So I don't know, you can't lose with this one. It is brilliant. It's an F1 hybrid, so you're gonna have great hybrid vigor. It's gonna be about 12 inches tall and get about 22 inches wide. And now in the Solar Avalanche series, we have 9 separate colors. Vinca is a fantastic item, and with F1 hybrid vigor, you're gonna get, again, good performance in any homeowner's hanging basket, garden, mixed container. So. Next item we have, we're going to add another color to our Limbo Picotee series. We've got Blue Picotee. This will be the 5th color into the Limbo Picotee series. Limbos are a grandiflora petunia. You don't need any growth regulators for these, or very limited growth regulators, so they go into our low grow item. Plants are going to grow about 8 inches tall, and the width will be about 8 to 12 inches. And this color is just fantastic.
I love Limbo because I believe it really does well in our climate. And I love the color of this, and I'm happy that it's got that little white picotee rim around it because that makes it really stand out. You can't lose that flower in the dark.
I'd mentioned a few years ago when I had visited the FNGLA conference that I teach at a university. And one of the items that I teach market research. One of the items that my students did research on was, why don't people garden? And one of the reasons they don't garden is they don't know what goes together. They don't know what colors go together. Here's an opportunity where they can buy a bicolored type flower, and they don't have to figure out, oh, I need to mix this color with that. It's just automatically in the flower color. We added 3 new colors to our Snapdragon Snappy series. This cherry, and I'm going to show you a pink and a rose and white. Snappy series is a dwarf compact snapdragon, very basal branching in its growth. Heather, anything special you'd like to say about this?
I would, because this is continuously covered in flowers, and that's really what we're all about, isn't it? We want the flowers.
Yeah, and you can see here in the pink, we got close-up shots of all of it. You can see how many blooms are coming. And speaking of coming, we look forward to coming to you virtually on May 12th in the webinar. We'll be there to answer any questions. If you have any questions for us ahead of time, here's our contact information. I'm going to say what everybody else does. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to beautifying the world with all our wonderful plants from all of us here in the future. Thanks, Linda. Thanks for the opportunity to present.